Jungkook and Taehyung break 18.4 million viewers. Through Netflix Comeback Live, the world truly stopped tonight. That night, the world seemed to move a little slower. The city lights were still glowing. Cars were still moving through crowded streets. Phone notifications were still buzzing every second. But somewhere in the middle of all that ordinary noise, something extraordinary happened. Millions of people across the world did the exact same thing at the exact same time. They stopped. They stared at their screens, and they waited for two names they had missed more than words could ever explain. Jungkook, Taehyung. Tonight, those two names were not just trending topics. They became the center of gravity for the entire internet. Hours before the live stream even began, timelines across every major platform were already spiraling out of control. Hashtags were rising by the second. Fan theories were multiplying. Teasers were being replayed endlessly. And one giant question echoed across the globe: what exactly was about to happen tonight? No one was truly prepared. Because when the Comeback Live on Netflix finally started, what unfolded was not simply a music event. It was not just a special appearance. It was not even just a comeback. It was an explosion of emotion, nostalgia, stage chemistry, charisma, silence, longing, and unforgettable moments that left the internet breathless. And then, as the official viewership, numbers began circulating, while the show was still underway. 18.4 million viewers. Yes, 18.4 million viewers. A number so massive it instantly shook the global entertainment world. A number that didn't just reflect popularity, it reflected anticipation, emotional investment, and the unbelievable pull of seeing Jungkook and Taehyung together again in one frame, on one stage, in one historic night. Many viewers immediately called it one of the biggest comeback live streams of the streaming era. Others went even further, describing it as a full-blown pop culture event, not merely a performance. And judging by the way the world reacted tonight, that statement doesn't feel exaggerated at all. Because from the moment they first appeared on screen, one thing became crystal clear. This was not just a show. This was a moment. This was the return of an atmosphere people had been starving for. And more than anything, this was proof that when Jungkook and Taehyung stand together, they don't simply perform. They create a wave. The hours before the live stream, the internet was already falling apart. 1 hour before the show started, the internet already looked like it was preparing for a world final. That is not an exaggeration. From Seoul to New York, from Jakarta to Sao Paulo, from Manila to Paris, fans flooded social media with the same kinds of posts, countdown screenshots, teaser clips, emotional messages, and one repeated confession: I'm not ready. And honestly, no one was. Netflix had spent the previous days building anticipation with a promotion strategy that was almost painfully minimal but devastatingly effective. They released just enough to create total chaos, dark visuals, the sound of breathing, flashes of stage lights, silhouettes of two figures, and one chilling line that sent the fandom into full collapse. Tonight, history returns. It was a simple sentence. But tonight, it proved to be absolutely true. As the livestream drew closer, fans began preparing in their own rituals. Some turned off the lights in their rooms and switched on their light sticks. Some gathered with friends for spontaneous watch parties. Some prepared snacks, tissues, and even extra phone chargers because they already knew one thing for sure: this was going to be emotional. Across several countries, small cafes and fan communities hosted impromptu group screenings. Some places were completely packed for one reason and one reason only. They wanted to witness this moment together with people who understood just how much it meant. And then, as the countdown reached its final minutes, everything shifted. The noise faded. The excitement turned into tension. People stopped typing, stopped talking, stopped breathing normally. 5 minutes. 1 minute. 30 seconds. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the black screen finally broke. An opening that didn't feel normal, dark, silent, and completely intimidating. Instead of launching straight into a giant stage reveal or a loud musical intro, the livestream opened with something far more powerful. Silence. A black screen. No text. No logo. No immediate music. Just darkness. For a few seconds, the entire world seemed suspended in place. Then slowly, the sound of breathing emerged. Not one breath. Two. Short, controlled, deep. And from that very moment, fans knew this was going to be different. A thin line of light appeared in the distance. It looked like a long corridor covered in soft smoke. A cinematic pulse began building underneath, not loud, not dramatic, but enough to feel like a heartbeat slowly getting closer. No explosions. No overdone transitions. Just tension. Pure, deliberate tension. Then two silhouettes began to appear. One step. Two steps. Closer, closer. And when the camera finally lifted just enough for the world to see who it was, the screaming began. Because there they were. Jungkook and Taehyung, walking side by side. No giant smiles. No exaggerated waving. No dramatic poses. And somehow that made it even stronger. They didn't need to do anything. They didn't need to say anything. They only needed to appear. And that alone was enough to send millions of people into complete emotional collapse. Jungkook carried a sharper, more mature aura tonight, calm, intense, and incredibly magnetic. Taehyung, meanwhile, stepped into the light with the kind of effortless elegance and cold charisma that makes silence feel dangerous. Taehyung entered just moments later, his lower tone wrapping around the atmosphere like smoke, warm, heavy, emotional, and devastatingly effective. The contrast between them tonight was impossible to ignore. Jungkook brought fire. Taehyung brought shadow. Jungkook pushed the energy outward. Taehyung pulled the emotion inward. And when both forces met in the same performance, the result was something that felt far bigger than just good. It was magnetic. Every movement felt precise. Every camera cut felt earned. Every glance felt dangerous. And of course, fans noticed everything. One of the most talked about moments in the opening minutes happened when Jungkook stared directly into the camera with full intensity, and just a split second later, Taehyung turned toward him and gave the faintest little smile. It lasted barely a moment, but it was enough. Social media exploded instantly. Clips of that tiny interaction began spreading everywhere before the first segment had even ended, slowed down, zoomed in, replayed, dissected frame by frame. Because tonight was clearly not just about vocals or visuals, it was about presence. It was about connection. And it was about two people who somehow still know exactly how to shake the internet without even trying too hard. 18.4 million viewers, the number that changed the entire night. And then came the moment that turned speculation into history. As the show continued and data from live traffic monitoring began circulating, one number appeared that made people genuinely think they were reading it wrong. 18.4 million viewers. Not 1.8 million. Not 8.4 million. 18.4 million. And in that exact moment, this night officially crossed into a completely different category. It was no longer just a successful comeback livestream. It became a historic event. Fans didn't react with simple excitement. Many were genuinely in disbelief. Some thought the number had to be a formatting error. Others refreshed their screens multiple times. A few could only post one word over and over. What? Because a number that large does not only mean popularity. It means global impact. It means anticipation. It means emotional investment at a level most artists can only dream of. It means the world didn't just check in for Jungkook and Taehyung tonight. The world showed up. Industry watchers quickly began comparing the scale of the live stream to other major global digital events over the past few years. And while every platform measures differently, one conclusion began forming almost immediately. What happened tonight was not normal. This was a phenomenon. Netflix, a platform already known for dominating scripted entertainment, suddenly found itself at the center of one of the most talked about live music events in recent memory. And who stood at the center of that moment? Jungkook and Taehyung. Not just as artists, but as event makers. Because tonight, they didn't merely attract viewers.